Hello for the third Sunday of Lent, using just the two readings, Exodus 17, 3 to 7, and the Gospel of John 4, 5 to 42. It's all about water, living water. In the early church, at the time of Christ, they had dirty water, stagnant water. They had cistern water. They had flowing water. And Jesus talks about eternal water or living water. What's that all about? Water certainly is the basis of life, especially in the Holy Land, those desert areas. And they had a good water, like the cistern or flowing water. But Jesus takes them beyond that and talks about living water in speaking with the Samaritan woman. In our state in Kentucky, with the rape of the mountains and all the pollution in many areas, the water is terrible. And people are screaming and calling for help to clean up the water in the mountains, Appalachia. And rightly so. Pollution, we live on water. We live with the air and the viruses in the air too, as we all are experiencing with the coronavirus or the COVID-19 closing up everything. It seems wild. I never thought we would be doing this. But that same type of thing, if you don't have clean water or pure air, or air meaning pure by no viruses, especially this one, Jesus takes these simple things, not the virus, but he takes water and he says, I came to give you new water, living water, flowing water, eternal water. And he does all of that with the woman at the well. I think during this Lenten season, with the virus and the threat, like the lack of water or the pollution of the water in the threat was a threat, that we need time to really sit down, be quiet, be with our God, and try to compare life without living or pure water and life without pure religious water or living water or eternal water. Life can be threatened, can't it, with this virus? We in Lexington, we don't have any problem with bad water, but they're certainly closing, or we're closing and saying you don't have to go to church this weekend because of the air. Well, water, air, sunlight are fundamental to life. And Jesus takes us a step above that. During Lent, I think it's a good time to sit down, be quiet, and be present with Jesus. I got this idea, as far as by mistake, I went to next Thursday's Black Book and I read about the woman at the well, or really Jesus Christ on Mount Tabor. It says this about the woman at the well in particular. The woman said to Jesus, "Sir, give me this water so that I may not be thirsty or have to keep coming here to draw water." Jesus said to the woman, "Call your husband and come back." The woman answered, and said to him, I do not have a husband. Jesus answered, You're right in saying, I do not have a husband. For you have had 5 husbands, and the one you have now is not your husband. What you have said is true. The woman said to him, Sir, I can see that you are a prophet. And then the little black book tells you sort of, why don't you spend a little time meditating about what we just read, or this gospel, or even the part from Exodus where they needed water, period. And here's what it says. And this is what I'm trying to say about the whole gospel. The Samaritan woman and Jesus continue their conversation. Once the woman appears to understand a bit more, Jesus invites her to bring her husband, perhaps so that they can engage in deeper conversation. At this point, the woman gets a little bit snippy, and Jesus then points out that she has had 5 husbands, and the man she's living with now is not really her husband. Well, the woman now realizes that the man she is talking to is no ordinary person, this Jesus. He must be a prophet because he knows things about her that no stranger could ever know. Now, here's the flavor of Lent. The Lord knows things about me, but he still loves me, just as he loved this Samaritan woman. During these remaining weeks of Lent, that's a good to remember. Thursday will be the 16th day in the 40-day period. Next Thursday, the 16th day. How's your Lent going? Are you taking out some time with you and Jesus, with you and God? What about this weekend? You don't have to go to church here in our diocese because of the flu and the danger. I try to give this. I sit down quietly and read those gospel readings and the other 2 also. And I would ask you, just say you're not going to go to church this weekend because of the danger or what. Read the gospel or that first reading from Exodus, and then you sort of say, what is Jesus trying to say? Or what would I say Jesus was trying to say? I say, read those before you listen to me. Turn me off. Read that gospel reading. Read that first reading from Exodus. And then you give your little understanding, interpretation, or twist. Then after you do that in the presence of God or in the presence of Jesus or in your quiet, well, then turn me back on again and see what Hehman thinks. See what Father Larry thinks. And then turn me off and go back in the presence of Jesus and with God. When you do that, I think you'll really be praying and deeply and really. Have a good continuation of Lent.